These are collisions in 2 dimensions. In this experiment, the student can observe for himself that momentum is a vector quantity. And he can determine that it is the vector sum of the momentum, not the arithmetical sum, that is conserved. This idea will only become really clear to him by analyzing 2-dimensional collisions like these. This is the apparatus with which we made those collisions in 2 dimensions. This is a standard lab kit. If you look from this side over here, you will see that just before and after the moment of impact, the movement is in a horizontal plane. Beyond this point, gravity makes the experiment seem 3-dimensional. But a careful choice of observations reveals the collision to be as 2-dimensional as you saw it in the plan view. The incident sphere gets its velocity when it rolls down this ramp and collides with the target sphere out here away from the edge of the ramp. The target sphere is supported on top of this set screw, which in turn is held in place by this pivot arm. Directly below the location of the target sphere, when the collision took place, hangs the plumb bob close to the paper. The tracing paper is placed on top of carbon paper so that when the spheres hit, they leave marks. Here is the point above which the last collision took place. The target sphere hit over here at exactly the same time the incident sphere hit here. Thus we can determine the horizontal distance traveled and the direction of each sphere before they hit the floor. This experiment ideally supplements the student's study of momentum and the conservation of momentum in the text. In previous experiments, he has also learned that the momentum of an object is equal to its mass times its velocity. He has learned about projectile motion, the fact that objects projected from the same height at different horizontal velocities reach the floor at the same time. Now, he has also learned that the horizontal component of the velocity remains unchanged. Now let's see, here and here. Down here it's the same and the same. So that the horizontal distance traveled by the object before it hits the floor is proportional to its horizontal velocity. This fact is the foundation on which the whole experiment is built. Earlier in the course, the student has learned something about vectors. But this is his first real chance to do an experiment that involves the use of vectors. The experiment will show him that direction is important, that momentum is not a scalar, it is a vector quantity. And through the experiment, the student will see that momentum is conserved as a vector sum, not as a scalar or arithmetical sum. This is the prime objective of this experiment. The apparatus is not too difficult to assemble. Bend the base plate about like this and clamp it to the edge of the table. If the table has a lip on it, you could place a block of wood under the base. The end of the base should be about 7 to 8 centimeters above the table. There. Center the ruler on the plate and snap the ruler into place. To begin with, we would like to measure the velocity of the incident sphere. If we are to accurately measure this velocity before the sphere collides by the method used in this experiment, we must make sure that the sphere is well clear of the ramp before it collides. For when a sphere rolls over an edge like this, the edge exerts a force on the sphere, a horizontal force. It exerts this force as long as the sphere is in contact with the edge. Therefore, at a point just 1 radius out from the edge, the sphere will be well clear of this force, and indeed on its own. To mark this point, we'll set up our plumb line. Fold the end of the string over the small stick and wedge it into the hole in the bottom of the set screw. Fasten the arm and pivot it so that a sphere set on the dimple on top of this set screw will just clear the edge of the ramp, 1 radius out. The plumb bob should be adjusted so that it hangs 1 or 2 centimeters above the paper, like that. Now let's remove the weights and this old piece of paper. Now you can see the 4 sheets of carbon paper taped together and placed carbon side up. Here are 4 sheets of onion skin paper taped together, and we'll place them on top of the carbon paper and center it so that the plumb bob falls along the midpoint of this side. Weigh down the paper so that it doesn't move during the experiment. Now we'll mark this point, and I guess we're ready to take some data. Swing the pivot arm to the side, and we'll measure the incident velocity. For this experiment, I'll always release the sphere from about the 25 centimeter mark. We must release it lightly so that the spring of the ramp does not introduce an error. Let's try it. There, see the mark? And again. Now I'll draw a circle around this group of about 10 points. And you can see that all the points lie in an area about 2 centimeters in diameter. The line drawn from the plumb bob point to the center of this distribution of points represents the velocity of the incident sphere. And in this case, it is 25.9 centimeters in our unit of time. That velocity times the mass of our sphere is equal to its momentum. The sphere in this experiment is a 1/2 inch steel ball bearing. Its mass is 8.3 grams. Thus, the momentum is equal to 8.3 times 25.9 centimeters per time interval. But the time interval throughout the experiment is constant. So let me call this 1 unit of time. Also, let me call 8.3 grams 1 unit of mass, so that the numerical value of the momentum is just 25.9. Now for our collisions. We want the motion to take place in a horizontal plane, the plane that the incident sphere is in when it is just clear of the edge of the ramp. We can fix the height of the target ball by adjusting this set screw up or down. We turn it so that the incident ball just clears it as it goes over the edge of the ramp. There. That's about it. Let's try it. It hit. So we lower it just a bit and try it again. There, it cleared. Now I'll tighten this nut so that the set screw will not move during the rest of the experiment. That adjustment has our target ball at the right height and ensures that the collisions will occur in a horizontal plane. Now we will be concerned with the position of the spheres in that plane. For a head-on collision, we place the target sphere here, 3 radii out from the edge of the ramp, so that the incident sphere is again just clear of the ramp when it collides. Or for a glancing collision, over here, a little over 1 radius from the edge. We can study the whole range from a glancing collision to a head-on one with this equipment, but it would require fine adjustment of the target ball for each new position. So to simplify the experiment for the student, we have determined a satisfactory position away from the edge of the ramp, an average position. This position is 2.5 radii of the sphere out from the edge of the ramp. Two and a half radii. Since this is a mid position, extreme right and left positions along the axis for a head-on or a glancing collision will introduce some error, but these are not the really interesting ones. Now for our first collision. There. So that we can remember where these spheres hit, we'll mark these points with a pair of numbers. And while we're at it, the plumb line is hanging directly below the original position of the target sphere, and we'll put a mark at this point. The distance from this point to where the target ball hit represents its velocity vector. Now we move the target sphere to a new position along this axis. And try it again. There. Now we have obtained the data for 4 different collisions in 2 dimensions. Now let's see what has happened. Let's analyze our data. In our first collision, a line drawn from the original position of the target sphere to where the sphere hit is a measure of its displacement in our unit time. Thus, it is its velocity vector. At the time of collision, the incident sphere was along this line and 2 radii of the sphere behind the original position of the target ball. There. We draw a line from that point to where the incident sphere hit the paper, and that is its velocity vector. Now I want to add this velocity vector to this one. I'm going to construct a parallelogram. This is the length of the target sphere's velocity vector, and the vector sum should lie along that arc. This is the length of the incident sphere's velocity vector. But now we must remember that the spheres were 2 radii apart when they collided, and so we come back along this vector to there. The vector sum should lie at the intersection of those 2 arcs. There is the target sphere's vector velocity added to that of the incident sphere. And it falls within the distribution of points, which represents the initial velocity of the incident sphere. To within the accuracy of this experiment, velocity is conserved. Now let's do the same thing for the other three collisions. And you see that in all four cases, when the two velocity vectors are added together, the vector sum lies within this distribution of points. So what have we found out? We have found out that in a collision of two dimensions of two equal mass spheres, their velocity is conserved. Each had a mass of 1 unit. So that momentum too, that is mass times velocity, must be conserved in these collisions. Now let's perform the experiment with a target ball of different mass. This is a glass marble. It also has a diameter of 1/2 inch and a mass of 2.7 grams, which is a good deal lighter than the mass of our steel ball bearing, and about 1/3 of our unit mass. I'll use the lighter sphere as the target sphere. If I used it as the incident sphere, it would bounce back and hit the edge of the ramp. Now I put a new spread of paper on the floor and plotted the incident velocity. So I guess we're ready to go. There. The lighter target sphere seems to go much farther. These vectors represent the velocity of the glass target sphere. These, the incident sphere. If we add the velocity of the target sphere to that of the incident sphere, the vector sum falls way out here. Not once, but every time, so that in these collisions of unequal mass spheres, velocity is not conserved. But momentum is our prime concern here. We cannot measure it directly as we have the velocity. Momentum is the velocity multiplied by mass. So, in these collisions of unequal mass spheres, let us now consider the momentum. The mass of the incident sphere is 1 unit, so that the length of its momentum vector is the same as its velocity vector. The length of the momentum vector of the target sphere is only 1/3 that of its velocity, since its mass is about 1/3 of our unit mass. There. These are the momentum vectors for our target sphere. Now let's find the vector sum. Again, we see that momentum is conserved. Convincing evidence from collisions in 2 dimensions on simple equipment.